Hello, you beautiful souls. I hope that you're all right, you're all good, you're well, and you're having a really good day or evening, wherever you are. I just wanted to come on really. I was looking at the date and realised we're a week away from the 2 hour course next Sunday. And I just wanted to share a little bit about me really. It's a long story, but I'm going to hit the piece that matters to me. I think it's about 1997. We're going to go back, for me, way back. And some of you probably weren't even born then. And I'd had a breakdown, basically. Life was chaos. I was in turmoil, wasn't sleeping, and I'd had a really, really tough time. My first relationship, the father of my two eldest boys, we'd broken up. And I was basically in a bad way. On reflection, I am aware that I've always suffered as a teenager from depression, although I think this is very all hormonal, because after my two children, I was a mess. And I think back then, I was literally caught up in the rat race of life, and I was stressed. I was living on my nerves. I was stick thin. I was partying hard because anything to escape, right? Drinking, a few drugs, and smoking. And it was really, really tough, that having that breakdown. I lost friends because of it. And I was in a dark place, I don't mind admitting it. The mental confusion and turmoil and just misery, absolute misery. The story I told myself was dark and it was continuous. And I think that's also why I couldn't sleep. I did the usual. I had therapy, I took tablets, and all of this sorted me out for a while. But then once the therapy stopped and I stopped taking the tablets, all them thoughts and feelings and that lowness inside just all re-emerged. And not only was I facing navigating being a single mum at the time, about 27 I think I was, fast approaching 28, I was also struggling to make mortgage payments, pay bills. I mean, I worked part-time, but yeah, it was really, really tough. And I'm sure a lot of you have gone through that as well. And I think for me, I didn't know what the future held. I found myself being busy all day long, getting, keeping on top of the house, making sure, you were a good mum, etc. Or a level of a good mum, making sure that they're fed, clothed, watered. I wouldn't say I was the most tactile and nurturing parent, but then I didn't know how to do that for myself, right? So how was I going to know how to do that for two children? And I think the breakdown at my darkest point, and I don't mind admitting it, I was driving back from a village not far from where I live, and the train gate started flashing the lights for you to stop and let the train go by. You all know how it works. And I sat there thinking how easy it would be just for me to roll the car up onto the tracks, and you know the rest. But my two boys flashed in my mind, and I thought, I've got to battle through this. I have to. I don't have a choice. And I even drove back to my mum's at the time, crying, feeling utterly useless, unimportant, a crappy mum, a crappy human being, you name it. And I'm sure some of the friends back then actually thought that that's who I was too. But you know, when you're caught up in that really dark place, there's not a lot you can do really. Like it takes absolutely every ounce of effort that you have to move forward and have the energy to be motivated for yourself, let alone anyone else. So being a single mum was a massive struggle for me. And I can honestly say back then I really wasn't much of a maternal parent either. And it's not like I have regrets, because I've healed it all and I understand it all. But I do think if I could go back in time and change that, oh, I would. But I can't. So I have to accept what's gone. And look at my two elder boys and think no matter what we went through, I'm really proud of them. They're good human beings, you know, so not all was lost. And I think when I was there in that dark place, not that I realised it then, but the universe or life put a few people in my life that shook me up, made me look at myself, and made me realise that even though I'd stopped all the medication and everything by then, I had to accept that a piece of me was, well, a big part of me was doing it to myself. But that was my internal feelings for me. And always being caught up with the busyness of life, I think it's very easy to not sit with yourself and think, okay, so who am I? What would I like to change? Why do I wake up miserable or low vibration or just low in energy? Why do I look at everything from a pessimist point of view? Because that was me. And why do I not even see or have any form of gratitude for the good stuff? You know, I had two healthy boys. And I had a roof over my head at the time, even though I lost that 2 years later. Yeah, even that got taken off me. But by the time I was there, I'd been able to do some inner work that enabled me to see the loss of the house as not as drastic as I would have thought it was 2 years previous. I mean, it would have been massive. But I think by the time I had to sit in front of a judge and say, yep, no, I get it, why the house is having to be taken, I was in a far better place. I said it was only bricks and mortar and that there'd been a lot of upset there and it was time to move on. So those couple of years of a little bit of self-learning, I read a lot, I did read, and I was also given healing, which helped me release a lot of that stuff, you know, the poor me, and I can honestly say when I look back now, I do think this person was, well, obviously put in my life to save me from myself. I've needed that a few times in my life, but clearly whoever looks over us didn't think that I was ready until I was about 27, 28 and 29. All those, I mean, my 27th year, I did really have to sit in that dark place. And I always used everything outside of me. I'd sit and watch TV for hours. I smoked, drank, did party in the earlier years. And it was anything about making myself feel better. I really didn't like being on my own. And I had been given a task to spend an hour with myself, with no TV, with no nothing, to see how I fared. And it wasn't good. 5 minutes. I thought it would be a really good, you know, once the kids was in bed, I actually thought this would be a really good way for me just to chill. And, you know, that person said to me, it's just 1 hour every evening. That's all you've got to do. 1 hour, you know, just do it for a week. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's easy. No worries. I can do that. It's no TV, she said. I was like, oh, okay. No sitting there drinking, smoking. No, basically, it's just you. Me, myself, and I. And I can honestly say I was quite excited at the challenge. And I sat down, and it's back then when you had the video recorders, VHSs, and it had the time on it. And I thought between 8 and 9's really good. I'll go for my bath after and job done. Little was I to know. I sat down on the sofa, I put my feet up, I looked at the time, bang on 8 o'clock. And I just sat with nothing outside to entertain me. I can honestly tell you, 7 minutes in, I looked 7 minutes in, I thought this is going to be the longest hour of my life. But what I did become very aware of was the stuff, the rubbish, the crap that went round my head over and over and over again. And I would think 10 years previous, I'd even try and conjure up 10 years ahead and think up scenarios, conversations, upsets that I'd been through with other people, partner, friends. And I can honestly say I drove myself mad in that hour. And at the end of the week, when the task was done of spending that hour, and I did it, I actually said to the person, I think I'm batshit crazy. And I had to learn how to be in that relaxed space. I mean, in that hour, I literally sent myself into anxiety, stress. I think I even cried thinking about some stuff. And the hour felt like torment. But I stuck at it. I didn't achieve anything. By the end of the week, I just thought I am totally mad. And I even reflected back on incidences where I know I probably could have been a better person. Well, I know I could have been a better person, and I failed dismally. But in hindsight, when you do have time to sit and not justify your behaviour, look at everything as a whole, I think that it's quite easy to take responsibility for yourself and think, well, that probably didn't need to go down that route. But as it was, we were here and I had to learn how to deal with it. And yeah, at the end of that week, I can honestly say I was so pleased that the task was over. And I was proud of myself for, keeping it up. But what it highlighted is that this was my enemy. I was my own self judge. I criticised myself. And I mean, sometimes I do think it is good to go in and have a look and think, right, okay, that's not good, and change it. But if you're spending every day and you are being really negative about you, towards you, and sometimes it's subconscious, you don't even realise you're doing it. I realised that by living in that place, no wonder why I had no energy, no wonder why I felt so low, no wonder why I didn't see anything to be grateful for, or every day felt like Groundhog Day, right? So I embarked on a journey, and obviously I scrapped the hour every day because that wasn't going to work. And I started with just 10 minutes. 10 minutes of me time when the kids were in bed. And a lot of people don't think that you can do this when you have a busy family, a busy life. And yeah, I had all of that. I had to carve out a small amount of time for me. So it would be literally half an hour at the end of the day, and I would have a bath and I would start to literally sit and dissect my thoughts. And I also started journaling. A lot of people say, oh, it's a load of rubbish, but journaling is such a good way to get out of your head and also to let things go. So I thought, well, before next Sunday, when we're just going to have 2 hours together, thank you for those that have signed up. I'm looking forward to really looking forward to it. It's just the first start of dissecting yourself and saying, right, okay, these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, and we're going to share some tools on how to get yourself out the hole that I've had to drag myself out of too. It's always good to have help. I've had help along the way, and for that I'm grateful. I've had help with people helping me redirect my thoughts. And, you know, when you first start, it does feel strange and you do have to battle yourself, but you are worth it. And the one thing I've learned is now, where I'm at now, everything that shows up in my life, it's not there to crush me, it's there to make me become better. And your mind is the most powerful tool you have. And I know everybody says it, and most of us don't believe it, but we really can carve out some amazing experiences and calmer times when we grasp this. And it's a lifelong journey. It's never something that you do overnight, but it's so good to start just somewhere, because at the end of it, the only person that you will feel empowered by is you. You will also have some gratitude for you that you've actually done this for you. And it's literally 10 minutes. And if you can do longer, do longer. But it's using the tools that I give you to be able to tolerate your own company, appreciate you, and actually start to look on the brighter side of life. And I know the world's in a bit of a mess at the moment, but I think it starts in here, right? So that's my job, and that's what I do for others that come to see me, and I'm happy to do it for you too. So go back a few posts, you'll see that next Sunday starts at 10. If you want to join, you're more than welcome, and be good to see you. And thanks for listening. Have a great day. Look after yourselves.